Hello, I'm Scott Flanagan again. I called my lawyer today on my Social Security. I just come to find out they didn't refile my case. Due to saying I didn't contact them. They said they sent a letter out. I didn't receive a letter. So it's probably because I was between homes and places to find to live. Basically, I'm homeless at the time. And right again, I'm going to be homeless again. So apparently it seems like they just gave up on my case. Because the last time they did, it was in between places again. They filed my case for me. So I don't know what changed at this point, but they told me they just frankly gave up. It's basically what it is. We already went through 3 appeals on this for my Social Security. So, and I already tried to look for a different lawyer before. None of them took my case. It's a lot to do because of lack of evidence of my disability. Because of my when I was growing up, when I was living with my mom when I was a teenager, my mom was barely able to get me to the doctor when she could, but it's due to her insurance. Was not able to get the doctors I need to see and stuff like that. Nothing was kept track of and everything else. Even though I was in special education, the reason why I was put in special education is because I was apparently somebody diagnosed me as mentally retarded. But they come to find out years later, right when I was in high school, that I wasn't. Due to a test they give you every year to find out where your grades levels are and stuff like that. So they come to find out I wasn't mentally retarded. I wish if we found that out at the time. I was like, my mom didn't. I don't know why she didn't realize it or even bother to ask the question. Why was I put in special ed? Why was I put in there? I didn't know why. It was weird. Through those years, I was like, why I'm in special ed? I could have been trying to ask that question myself for all those years. There were certain things I was more excelled in than the people in class I was with. It made no sense. They come to find out what it was a mistake of it was basically a misunderstanding. I don't know how old I was. I don't remember my age. It was a pretty young age at the time. I was maybe 8, maybe 8 or 7 years old when this happened. Apparently somebody said I was hearing voices in my head. That is not due to mental retardation at all. But I never heard voices in my head, but they misunderstood what I meant when I said they told me to do this. What it was my family, my cousins were telling me I should go beat these kids because they were picking on me, calling me names. That was the kind of advice I was given by my cousins. I didn't have any sisters or brothers when I was growing up whatsoever. I was the only child. The only people I could turn to who was close to my age were my family, my cousins and stuff. And everybody just took the wrong way when when I said they told me to do this. I got physical violent with other kids because they were calling me. Well, before I gained my weight, I was a twig, to be honest. My problem was his height. I was tall. Then kids picked on me because I was tall and bigger than them. They probably thought I was older than them and I was held back in school or something like that. That wasn't the case. I was tall for my age. Very tall. Then afterwards, it got so bad being picked on, it was to the point where I was like, I couldn't. It was like what I was going to resort to next because I couldn't hit kids anymore or nothing like that. My next step was food. I took my anger on food and ate myself till I got fat. Then after down the road, eventually, other things popped up. Like, we didn't know it till I was age 17 years old. There were signs before that. First off, enlarged breasts for one. My breast, I was like at a lake with my mom one day, and all of a sudden I noticed one of my breasts were a little bit larger than the other one. Couldn't figure out why. My mom didn't know neither. We went to a doctor. They did some blood work. They seen my hormones were out of whack. And they didn't know the reason behind it. They couldn't figure it out. So they were trying to find that out. And then we didn't have, the insurance didn't cover the MRIs and stuff like that to determine what it was and everything else. After a while, then there's another symptom that popped up that it was beyond me. It was weird, and everybody found it weird. I showed it to my friends and stuff like that. I started producing milk. And a man should be not producing milk at all. I'm a man. I'm born as a man. I'm not transgender or anything. I felt like a man and always been a man. You know. Then after we got down the road, my hormones were out of whack. They tried treating with medication, shots, and stuff like that, and everything. But I was gaining weight too, and not really losing it. I was holding it at a point, and wasn't losing weight. Even though I was playing football, after I started playing football, I was just standing still in my weight. I wasn't losing weight. It just kept it. I was only stayed at one standstill when I was losing weight, or when I was gaining weight. It just stand there when I was doing sports and stuff, you know. Then when I finally got to high school, about to my senior year, I started having trouble keeping awake in class too, and I just kept on falling asleep. My grades started dropping because of it, and I had to leave. I got kicked out of football and stuff like that, and everything just started going downhill from there. Then the counselors of my school decided to get me into a program through Michigan Rehab before my senior year and everything else, because they knew I wasn't going to make it. And when I went to Michigan Rehab, they put me into a school in Plainwell, Michigan, to do some technical training and stuff like that for trade, whatever, like for electronics. That was basically I was hoping for something in the computer field because I was into computers, but they had nothing in the computer field. So I went and took the electronic part of it. After that, they did some medical testing, working on to try to determine what was wrong, because I couldn't keep awake in class. I kept on falling asleep. I even took, before that, I did take a sleep test, but they said it was an excessive sleep disorder. It wasn't sleep apnea. I like to sleep a lot, apparently. That's what the whole issue was. I instantly fell asleep. Didn't take very long. That was part of the test. That was what they said in the test. They just said I had excessive sleeping disorder. But later on down there, I found out I had sleep apnea. But though before that, after they did some regular sleep testing. I was during school. The state paid for it, medical. They did it. They finally took me into an MRI. They discovered something on my pituitary gland. It's called a pituitary adenoma. It's a tumor, a growth on my pituitary gland that produces hormones and controls it, regulates everything in my body. So, and after that, we determined, and then when they figured that out after school was just ending, the semester, when you want to say, it was ending that time. Came back, they told me before I came back to that school, I had to take care of those problems. And again, I felt like crap and depressed. Didn't know what to do. And Michigan Rehab did try to help me, but again, I became so depressed. Nobody was there for me pretty much at the time. I mean, nobody understood what was going on, and I was so depressed. I mean, I started letting myself go, even though I had a job and everything else. And I was homeless before after the school. I was going to hotel to hotel to hotel to finally reach rehab. Finally got me an apartment. Then after I went to that apartment, they got me into a income-based housing and at Peterson Apartments. I screwed up. I said I got so depressed, didn't start caring everything anymore. So I just lost a care in the world because everything was just, again, it's the same way now. You know, and I still have the pituitary adenoma. I've been trying to get it. After I get out of my depression, I'd start to go back, try to get help for it again. Then come to find out, I can't even get into an MRI machine to determine how advanced I got it and everything else, and if I needed treatment still. You know, it was a problem. It's like being kicked out of your mom and dad's house at 17 years old, trying to make it. The only thing I was living off after I got kicked off, really, I had a job. It wasn't but one of the very much pay. I was getting SSA through my dad, but that dropped off when I hit 18. And after that, and it's like after years after that, I even tried for Social Security, got first denied. I didn't try to go fight for it again after that, but I went and applied again years later down the road. Got denied, but I went and got a lawyer. I went through 3 appeals, I just don't know. After each appeal, I felt really sick to my stomach. I couldn't do nothing. Can't figure out what to do, especially when I couldn't get a job anymore. Can't get an income. How am I supposed to live without money? If I can't get a job, if I can't get Social Security, what am I supposed to do? What, just go die? Kill myself? Right now, suicidal thoughts just haven't been coming around me a lot lately. And now my lawyer just gives up on me on my case. And no other lawyer wants to take my case. What is left there? What's left? Now I'm going to be homeless again. Trying to find a home. And trying to figure it out. I'm going to end this now because it's getting lengthy. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe.